See, I will try to cover Dr. Bajaj sir, madam, they have covered that. What are the security challenges today? What is the scenario? I'll try to touch upon the threat landscape. It's very, very important. Another perspective of this, we will not talk about problems, we will talk about solutions also. See, at the end of the day, we have to use ICT. There is no option, right? We have to secure that. Now, threat landscape is, yes, malware. We have found, it is true, we have found 70%, more than over 70% of enterprises having active malware in their networks. It doesn't mean that they don't have security measures in place. They have got firewalls, IPS, everything. After that, there is active malware, 70% of organizations having. And another point I want to make, Bajaj sir was mentioning that the number of malwares. You will be surprised to know every 1 second, 3 unique malwares are getting released. As per avtest.org, they are saying that by the year 2015, you will be having 26,600 odd unique malware per hour. Now think about it, how you are going to defend that. There is no time you will respond to them. That means detection and is not a solution. We have to protect. In kind of scenario, think about that. Probably in case of virus, sir was mentioning that in a analogy I want to give here. In case of H1N1 virus, what do? You have got only Tamiflu as answer, right? That means best practice we have to adopt that don't get infected. Adopt some best practices. Second is, this is a new topic, APT, the Advanced Persistent Threat. People have talked about the Stuxnet, RSA, so many things. What is APT is all about? Some of the organizations, they think that, okay, I am in the closed network. It is not only that you are in the internet and you are exposed to the threat. Yes, you are. But if you are in the closed network, something like army, defense or networks, yes, still you are not secure. What was Stuxnet? It was a closed network. It was designed for that. APT is Advanced Persistent Threat. That means they are very persistent. It is targeted. And they will wait for probably 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 3 years. And there is some examples. People have waited for that to launch an attack. And Stuxnet was designed for the Iranian power plant, right? They have created that attack for that, particularly for the Siemens instruments. How they got attacked. Next is botnet. See, basically, you have heard about Jews, right? Millions of computers have been actually compromised by Jews. What they are doing? Actually, they are. So I will talk about that. These people. Advanced persistent threat is targeted to specific organization, specific person, and botnet is specifically to actually create a network to identify some vulnerability, known vulnerability. Let's talk about that, how it happens. Let's say I have a meeting with you. Tomorrow, after this meeting, I will send a minutes of the meeting. Then I will call you up. Sir, I am sending this minutes of the meeting in a PDF format. Which version of PDF Acrobat Reader you are using? Then you will obviously answer me that I am using Acrobat 9 or Acrobat 8. When you have revealed this information, it is public information. I know what are the vulnerabilities are there in Acrobat 8 or 9. Then I will send a document. Then when you click the document, you know it is a legitimate document. It's the minutes of the meeting. Once you click into it, I will incorporate some malware into it and it will drop in your infrastructure. And it will not create any overhead on your machine. My objective is not to crash your machine. My objective is to get into your data center because I know you are a very critical person. Or my objective is to get your financial information, your credit card information, your banking information. That is actually happening using social engineering and all. See, WikiLeaks, you know, we have talked about that things are happening. Some examples. The Sony PlayStation network was attacked. It is an example of an APT. They are in the news. What is the objective of getting into it? Sony PlayStation information was that, see, when you are buying PlayStations, you are using your credit card, your banking information. That guy, how they came into this infrastructure? Actually, your database is in the secure infrastructure, right, in your data center. But how that guy came into the database? They have used some public information, which is actually in the DMZ zone, your web server, and launching an attack of which is called SQL injection attack. That means I need to compromise your web application server, then I will get into your database, which is actually in your secure infrastructure. And they have actually got all this information from the Sony PlayStation network. Fortunately, that the data was there in the data center, it was encrypted. They have taken all data, but they could not use it, because what are the information they are looking for? Username, password, and your date of birth, all information were there in this Sony PlayStation network. This was sir was mentioning about this, right? The objective is this is basically very, very critical. It was happened in 2007 and 2009. We are talking today, but it was happening for quite a long time. We know a couple of organizations, they are running APTs, active APTs running in their infrastructure. But people doesn't know that what is going on. How it actually happens. Let's come to the technology, right? First is intelligence gathering. Intelligence gathering may be different ways. Now first I will try to talk to you, I will use different basically social engineering mechanism to get you all the information. Then point of entry, I will try to find out something like the Great Wall of China. I will try to find out the person who is actually the guard. I will try to bribe him. That is the weakest link. Point of entry I need to make. You have got firewalls, you have got IPS, you have got everything, all the technologies. But if I can go into that organization, that if I can actually compromise the machine of the CIO or CTO or the CISO or the network administrator or the Active Directory administrator, then I am through. They will try to do that. Then command and control center come into the picture. That machine will try to establish a connection to the command and control center, which is out of your network. Then once it is command and control center session is established, then I am having the control of your infrastructure sitting outside of your network. This is basically, then I will start to do a lateral movement in your infrastructure. That means I know I am in your infrastructure, then I will try to spread the threats in your organization using your LAN. This is how actually it happens. The APT happens. It's very, very difficult. This is very, very difficult to identify. Yes, for that, some of the government organizations, some of the government of Korea, government of China, they have started taking some steps into it. How to prevent that? Let's talk about this. All the analysts, what they are saying. They are saying that you should have a zero trust security model. Actually, in an organization like government organization, big enterprises, what is the challenge? Challenge for them is the visibility. We have got 29 states. If you are running a mission mode project, you have got a central data center here. You don't know who is connecting from in Tamil Nadu. What are the machine status of the machine? Visibility is an issue, right? If that machine is compromised, he has got access to your data center. He can do the same damage which is sitting in your data center. Gartner is also saying the same thing. If you just go through this, all this, these people are suggesting, they are saying that you should have proper visibility of your infrastructure. This is one part is network infrastructure visibility is very, very important. Let's talk about that, how to get this visibility. That we should have a central management console from where we should have the threat intelligence. That means I am using different mechanisms, different technologies from different vendors, but I should have day-to-day audit. Sir was mentioning that we are doing actually the audit for a perspective of the compliance. No, it is for security. If you are doing an audit probably once in a year, or twice in a year, or once in a quarter, it is not enough. You should have day-to-day audit mechanism of your security infrastructure. What is that? You should have the visibility of the network. Actually, you should have some actionables. If I know that these things are happening, how to defend that? We should have that automated process, because humanly it is not possible. We should have some mechanism there. Let me give an example. If it is so. Let's say visibility, insight and control, how we can do that. Actually, APT happens like this. This is a machine, which is an important machine. Somehow he is compromised. Now, once he is compromised, what he is doing, he is trying to communicate to the command and control center outside of a network. When it is done, we should have some mechanism that this should be detected. How it will detect? We should have some mechanism which should be in the promiscuous mode in your network. It should not be in the inline mode. Take the traffic, analyze it. And analysis should be based on real time. How I can get this real time analysis? We should have the cloud-based technology where I can correlate the data or what is happening across the globe. That means all the time I should be updated. Now, if I'm there, then threat is confirmed. Yes, there is a threat. This machine is trying to communicate somewhere else. It is a genuine threat. I need to stop that. How to do that? Now, come into the picture that how to defend that. We should have automatic cleanup procedures. If I know that this machine is communicating to outside the world, which is actually a command and control center, that I should have a mechanism which will go to that machine and stop that threat, do a forensic cleanup. It will do that cleanup. Not only that, immediately as an CIO or CISO, you should know what has happened to my organization, to my infrastructure. I should give you daily report, probably executive report once in a week, and everyday report of the security infrastructure. If you can have this kind of mechanism, this kind of solution, right, which will give the visibility, then only we will be able to fight against APTs and all. APT is basically, it is not simply a malware which is there, which is actually creating different services and all. It is very silent, very low. It maintains a very low profile in infrastructure. Only thing is this: we have to have different point of this control by which you can analyze and identify this may be an APT which is going on. Another part of perspective is, if this is a visibility, then now what are the standard security practices? Standard security practices is outside in model. We think that there is a perimeter, and perimeter outside people are there, people are coming, we will create a firewall, IPS and all, I will allow people or disallow people. But this is very important. You should have that unless and until you have moved to the cloud infrastructure. If you are moving to the cloud, in the cloud there is no perimeter, right? Now this is very important. You should have all security aspects: firewall, IPS, IDS, network level security, antivirus at the host level. Everything is very important. But objective is to secure my data. How to secure your data? Now perimeter security. Now question is it enough? This is the Great Wall of China. What will happen? This empowered employee, the CIO or the network administrator, his machine is compromised. I will bypass the firewall. I know the firewall password. This is a big challenge. Advanced targeted threats. I will send a mail to CIO or CISO, and he will allow me to access my data. That means though you have physically firewall, but you are bypassing the firewall. These guys, the cyber criminals, the bad people are doing this today. And when you are moving to the cloud, there is no question of perimeter. In the cloud infrastructure, there is no perimeter, right? What is the solution for that? The solution is here. We should have technologies where we should have outside in protection and we should have inside out protection. That means we have to have all layered security approach what you have today. At the same time, we need to start thinking that how we can secure our data centers, the servers. Servers may be physical server may be virtual server may be cloud servers, right? In the virtual servers in the cloud. Now we should have central security platform by which I should be able to manage all my infrastructure, and there should be some visibility. Now this is actually it happens if you go to any organization, it will be like this in a today's scenario. You may be having some physical servers in your data center. You are planning to have some virtual machines, or somebody have moved to virtual infrastructure, and tomorrow, day after tomorrow, you are also planning to move your DR site to the cloud or any other service provider infrastructure. But who is actually responsible for the security? This is my property, right? I am responsible for my security. I should have same security platform wherever my server is. What type of server it is? It may be a physical server, it may be a virtual server, it may be a cloud, or wherever it may be my data center, my DR, or whatever it may be. I should have same platform, security platform by which I can manage. What should be the solution? Solution is this. At the host level, we should have a solution which should have DPI. It is more than that, sir. It is DPI, you call it. It is more than HIPS. Actually, you have to shield the vulnerabilities. Shield the vulnerabilities of the operating system applications. Now, what is the challenge for the server? Challenge is every day, every second Tuesday of the month, Microsoft announces their vulnerability. Is it possible to deploy the patches on the server that day? No. Not only Microsoft. Oracle in 2010, they have announced 27 vulnerabilities. How much time does it take? They will give 500 pages of documentation to deploy. And you don't have any downtime. You cannot implement that, or you cannot, this is a critical server, you are running the database, right? Now, but to patch up the vulnerability is very important. What is the solution? Solution is you should have some mechanism that for the maintenance window, when the patch is announced, I can do my test run in your test environment, then I can deploy, but it will take 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 3 months or 6 months time. In between, who will secure my infrastructure? We should have some virtual patching functionality that it should protect. With an IPS rule, it should protect the vulnerability from the threats. Then you will take your own time and deploy the actual patches. This is actually another solution. This solution will protect you from attacks like SQL injection attack, cross-site scripting attack. Actually, it happens at the web server level. Now, through the web server, I can reach to your database server. That has to be protected. We should have host-based firewalling, which will allow that in my data center, I have got different servers. One server is for probably web server. I need to open only one port number 80. Other port should be blocked. Why should I open other port number 25 in that machine? Right? We should have proper firewalling, which should not degrade performance at the same time. If I am putting standard antivirus comes with firewall, but that firewall is not enough. That if you enable that firewall, it is an application firewall. It degrades the performance. Most of the time, the customer what they do actually they disable the firewall. It degrades the performance. That's the challenge. Now we should have some functionality which should be at par with the network firewall. Antivirus, yes, absolutely required. Log inspection and the integrity check. Integrity check is basically for the servers. You need to maintain the hygiene of the server. That means if I know this is my application server, the directory where spool directory is getting changed, it is normal, right? If somebody is trying to change some directory which is actually basically a system32 directory which is very, very critical, it should not be changed. We need to maintain the hygiene of the server. This is a solution. Another is if the database, if the data center is virtual, we have moved to the virtual infrastructure. There is some challenges in the virtual infrastructure. In the virtual infrastructure, you have got challenge for if you implement in a virtual infrastructure, if you think that one physical server, number of VMs, virtual machines you are running. If you install antivirus, main complaint against antivirus is if I start installing antivirus, degrade the performance, whether it is laptop or servers or whatever it may be. What will happen if it is a virtual server? Then we need to take care of that. We have some security challenges in the virtual infrastructure that our solution should take care that it should be agentless anti-malware functionality. This should like this. We have solution which should be physical, which should cater to. Yeah, this is the last slide for me, sir. This is actually we should have a solution which should give some functionality, firewall, HIPS, file integrity monitoring, everything. Sometimes in case of virtual infrastructure, it should be agentless and it should be agent-based in case of physical servers. Trend Micro, I represent Trend Micro. I paid for that. Now I need to talk about Trend Micro for one slide is we are leader into cyber security and this threat analysis and APTs and all. Yes, we are there to help you out if you have any solution. Thank you. I'm there